video is brought to you by Manscaped.com, the global brand for men's hygiene and grooming. What Manscaped offer you is essentially the perfect tools and formulas for the 3 odour zones: your body, your balls and your butt. And the guys at Manscaped kindly sent me the Perfect Package 4.0 for me to show you guys myself. The first thing you'll notice when you get your Manscaped parcel is the quality of the packaging, but for me it's what's inside which is really important. And for me personally, I was really impressed by the Ball Preserver and the Ball Reviver. 2 things you don't really think about, but it's massively essential for the hygiene of your balls. But of course the main talking point about the Perfect Package 4.0 is the Lawnmower 4.0, Manscaped's 4th generation waterproof electric ball trimmer with advanced skin safe technology, which massively reduces the chances of cuts and nicks when shaving your private area. Basically, think of it like a Choa for Mexico at every World Cup. The Lawnmower 4.0 saves your balls, it really does. It also has a super smart charging system with this little docking station. You just put your trimmer in, give it a second, the light will come on, and now your trimmer is charging. It really is as simple as that. And I think that's my favourite thing about the whole product. It's so small, so easy to use, it just makes the whole process of trimming your balls and looking after your male hygiene, it just makes it all so much easier. The people at Manscaped have actually even gone one step further, because now for a limited time you can get all of this plus 2 extra products for free, which includes this travel bag and also a pair of boxer briefs, which again, really comfortable, really recommend. All of this is available using the link in the description down below. Head to manscaped.com and use code AJAnalysis for 20% off your order and free postage, and again, those 2 free gifts. Make sure to use Manscaped in the description down below to get the right tools to save your family jewels.
Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel and the Scouting for Manchester United series. The series where we look at players from all around the world and assess whether or not Manchester United should sign them. And today we are going to be talking about Memphis Depay. Now, this one might come as a bit of a shock. You maybe weren't expecting me to talk about Memphis because he's the first former Manchester United player we've spoken about. He's one of the more well-known players, kind of universally, and also he is older than a lot of the players we've spoken about. However, I will come on to my reasons, and the big reason, realistically, is that his contract runs out with Barcelona next summer. So, kind of this January, teams can start talking to him about signing him in the summer on a free transfer. Barcelona have made it pretty clear they don't want him. He isn't part of Xavi's plans and his tactics moving forward. They wanted him gone last summer to try and make some money to bring other players in, so he doesn't seem to be a part of Barcelona's future. So I thought we'd take a look at him because United need a striker of some description, and they've spent a lot of money in the past few seasons. So the idea that you can get a very good footballer on a free who plays that striker position, it kind of could work. So, Memphis Depay, 28 years old, of course, playing for the Netherlands, who recently went out of the World Cup, and currently plays for Barcelona, where, like I said, he doesn't really seem to be wanted. And the reason he isn't really wanted is because he just doesn't really fit in with their tactics. He hasn't done anything particularly wrong, it's just in terms of what Barcelona want as a striker, he doesn't really work. So the question is, would he work for Manchester United? That's what I want to try and discover today. First things first, he's a pretty decent goal scorer. Now, in terms of last season in La Liga, he scored 12 goals from pretty much 12 expected goals, so kind of bang on track. Now, I was saying this the other day about Gonzalo Ramos. If you're Manchester United, you do perhaps want a slightly better level of finishing than that. However, if we go back and look at his time with Lyon, then what we see is that in his last 3 full seasons, now, he had one season where he had a lot of injuries, but his last 3 full seasons, he got over 10 goals and 10 assists in all 3 of those seasons. So, this is a player who has developed himself into a very consistent footballer. And he is scoring goals for Barcelona when he plays, he just doesn't play very often. He's a good goal scorer. And I think what we need to do when talking about Memphis is talk about him at Lyon rather than at Barcelona. People will look at his numbers at Barcelona, his performances or his lack of performances, his FB Ref report from the last year or so, and say, he's probably not doing what you want him to do, and he hasn't really been good enough, blah blah blah. But like I said, I think that's because he just doesn't fit into the system there. I think the way he was used at Lyon was much more effective, and these numbers were very different. For example, his pass completion here is low, his progressive passes are low. That wasn't the case when he was playing for Lyon. When he was playing for Lyon, he was ranking right up there with some of the very best in the world. So if he was to come to Manchester United, then what sort of striker would they be getting? Well, a very all-rounded one. A very well-rounded player who can do a little bit of everything. And actually, in terms of on the ball, from a possession side of things, he doesn't have very many weaknesses at all. Fundamentally, as a footballer, he is very technically sound. He has an excellent first touch, his control is good, his dribbling is good, he can cross a ball, he can pass a ball, he can shoot. he's got a bit of everything. His vision is good. There really is a fundamentally sound player here, which is why I think for the fact that you can get him for free for such a well-rounded, sound, technical footballer, it kind of looks too good to be true. In terms of stylistically what he would want to do, Memphis is a player that likes to come towards the ball. Now, he used to be a player that would run in behind the defence a bit more, and we know he used to be absolutely rapid. He really was very, very explosive, going in behind defences, constantly making runs in behind. However, he had that ACL injury the other year with Lyon, and he has lost a yard of pace. He isn't the same kind of direct darting weapon that he was before, but that has almost made him better all round as a footballer, and he loves dropping into these areas where his link-up play is brilliant. We even saw it for Netherlands at the World Cup, that goal against the USA, where he kind of drops into this area here, receives the ball, plays the ball here, and then eventually the ball got worked wide, and Memphis was then in the box to finish coolly into the bottom corner. The move started with him dropping deep, linking the play, but then also having that appetite to get forward into goal-scoring positions. And I think that is what Erik ten Hag wants from a striker. He does want a player who can drop in and link the play, do that sort of work. Of course he does. We know this is something that ten Hag wants because it's something that Martial has been asked to do when he's been fit, and Manchester United's best football this season has come with Martial up front. Memphis in a way does have a similar skill set, that idea of wanting to drop deep, get on the ball and make things happen. I think what could also be useful is his long shot ability. We know that Manchester United, as they move forward and continue to develop, are going to face more and more low blocks. Perhaps Memphis' ability to drop away from goal, get the ball, turn and then shoot from range could be a really lethal weapon. I think it's something that is kind of underappreciated in football a little bit. These days we all love a lovely passing move where you complete 43 passes and then roll the ball into the bottom corner. We all love that sort of goal, but I think playing against low blocks more and more teams utilising a good mid-block or low block, perhaps long-range shooting is something that is becoming a little bit underappreciated. And something that, if done well, could really be a good weapon. Because it doesn't matter how many defenders you have back, if you can just stick the ball into the top corner from 25 yards, that completely breaks that. So perhaps that is something that Memphis could combine. We also know that he is a player that would like to drift to a left-hand side. He was formerly a left winger. Perhaps that could work with Marcus Rashford then making runs from out to in, something which we've spoken about several times because I think that's a very good weapon. All round, I just think Memphis is a very good footballer. He's also very good with his dribbling as well, so if he was to drop deep, he would be able to turn and then drive at defenders, and I really do think that he carries a big threat. I think his time at Barcelona, he's become really underrated, and people kind of look at him and go, well, when he was young, he didn't do very well for Manchester United. That is true, but there's a couple of reasons for that. One, his mentality wasn't right then. He was still very young and quite immature in his actions off the pitch. That seems to have changed over the past few seasons. He's much more mature, much more hard-working, much more dedicated. Also, he simply wasn't given enough time at Manchester United. He was only there for about 18 months, which wasn't long enough for him to settle in. It was also a time at United when the club was kind of in that period post-Sir Alex Ferguson, where things weren't right at the club. We, of course, know that. Not many of those signings in that era really done very well at all. This is a new Manchester United, and under Erik ten Hag, things do look different. So perhaps Memphis Depay could kind of do a better job second time round. We know he is a big Manchester United fan as well, which I think is always going to help his relationship with the fans, the fact that the fans can relate with him. So that could work as well. For me, probably the biggest downside of signing Memphis in terms of what he does on the ball is that he isn't a true poacher. He isn't a true number 9. If we talk someone like Gonzalo Ramos the other day, but also the likes of Harry Kane, Robert Lewandowski, Erling Haaland, the top strikers in the world, they get their goals in the box. Especially someone like Haaland, someone like Lewandowski. They do their best work in the box where they're waiting for that cross and they head the ball into the back of the net, or they get those scrappy goals. That isn't something that Memphis does as such. And my concern is that if you look back over the past 3 seasons, most of his goals have come in transitions, where his side have been able to nick the ball and counter-attack with pace. And either Memphis gets the ball here, dribbles, carries it forward and then shoots a goal, or dribbles and then baits a defender in and then brings one of his teammates into play to get an assist, or the ball is played over the top and he runs in behind, or the ball is played kind of in his channel here and he's on the defender's shoulder and runs in behind and finishes. I'm not sure that sort of chance is going to be available for Manchester United all that frequently. And it's actually something we've seen United struggling with already this season. Early in the season, Rashford was getting several goals from counter-attacking. Teams have quickly realised, well, if we sit deeper, there isn't that space to counter-attack. And that is what has left United a little bit toothless, kind of in forward areas. Does Memphis completely solve that problem? I'm not sure he does. I think if Memphis was a player that we're talking about, you know, he's got 3 years left on his contract and he's going to cost £30 million, then I don't think I would be going for it, because I don't think he's the right profile of striker. But I do just wonder if on a short-term deal, maybe just 2 years, something like that, on a free transfer, an experienced player, but also, again, a very, very, very well-rounded player, it might be worth it. This is a slightly different sort of footballer to what we're talking about with the other videos we've done in this series. This is a bit of a stopgap signing, a little bit. But United do need a striker, and there is one here for free, who is good at football. Very good at football, and has some similar strengths to someone like Anthony Martial. He can drop in and link the play and bring others in. This video, more than most, I'm really interested to hear your thoughts. I'm not massively going to break down all of his strengths and stuff, you kind of noticed that during the video, because I think we all know Memphis Depay. I think we all know what he is all about. I just think, basically, I really want to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think he is someone that Manchester United should pursue? Because, again, he's really, really, really good. Really underappreciated. Really underrated. And again, technically, fundamentally, he's a very, very sound footballer. He has a bit of everything. No real weaknesses on the ball. Apart from, like I said, a lack of aerial ability. But in terms of just general finishing, he is a very decent finisher. His left foot is also much better than what it used to be. He used to be very right-footed as a player. He now even occasionally takes penalties left-footed for Barcelona. So he has become a very two-footed footballer. We've seen some nice kind of finessed finishes from the edge of the box with his left foot over the past 18 months or so. He's a really good player. A really, really good player. Tactically, he isn't quite perfect for Ten Hag, I don't think, because he isn't that kind of box presence. But he does have some similarities to Martial in the way that he likes to play. Now, yes, their dribbling technique is different. Memphis is a bit more explosive and a bit more about skill, whereas Martial's is more about balance and changing the direction of the ball. But, like, the way they like to operate, the areas they like to drift into, the way that they like to bring others into the play, they are really quite similar. But we know that Martial has a lot of injury problems. So could it be worth bringing Memphis in to make sure United have another striker? Because they do badly need another striker. Now, in terms of Memphis, he does have injury problems himself, which really seem to have developed since he's going to Barcelona. Now, if we look at his Lyon career there, we can see that he only had one major injury in about 4 or 5 seasons, and that was an ACL, which is kind of a freak accident. It can happen to anyone. Since moving to Barcelona, we have seen more regular injuries, which is a bit concerning. Is that to do with him aging? Is that... well, I don't know, we don't really have the answers. And we can also see a few thigh muscle problems, which I don't know the details of the injuries, do wonder if it's because he is an explosive athlete. I mean, I don't think I've got a picture, but, you know, the size of his legs, we can all see the size of his legs. We know that he is a well-built, muscular guy. Explosive athletes do tend to get more injuries because of those explosive movements, where the muscles are quickly working, putting a lot of work in. So perhaps it's something to do with that. Like I said, I don't know. I don't have the details on those injuries. Just something I'm thinking about. But, like I said, more than anything, I don't need to massively break down Memphis. You guys know what he's all about. You guys know what you get when you get Memphis Depay. More than anything, I want to hear your thoughts, because I think it could be a tempting little signing. I've seen a few of you kind of suggesting it in the comments in different videos, and I like the idea. I do like the idea. Like I said, I think if it was money involved, he was going to cost a lot, I probably wouldn't, because I don't think he is quite what Manchester United need. He isn't quite the age that United want. But on a free transfer, for just a couple of seasons, to kind of maybe even just be a backup striker, come in when Martial is out, or be a backup to another striker that Manchester United may sign. I do like the idea of it. I do like the idea of it, but I want to know your thoughts. So make sure to get in the comments down below and let me know what you think. And also make sure to subscribe to the channel below. But more importantly, get in the comments down below and let me know what you think. Do you think Manchester United should sign Memphis Depay? Do you think it's a signing that is worthwhile, or do you think there's too many attitude problems, or too many injury problems, or do you just think it doesn't work because he was here before? Personally, I like the idea that he is a Manchester United fan, kind of given that second shot, that unfinished business to prove himself at Manchester United. It'd kind of be a nice way to end the story. However, we can't be too sentimental in football. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.